guys, welcome to Cooking with Recreation. I'm Miss Amanda, and today we're going to be making cinnamon crisp chips and fruit salsa. So the ingredients that we're going to be using today are cinnamon, nutmeg, a little bit of cooking spray, sugar. We have strawberries, lemon juice, kiwi, Honeycrisp apple, banana, and tortilla flats. So we're going to get all this stuff cleaned up, and then we're going to pull out our flour tortilla shells and get those started for the oven. So when we're in the kitchen, we need to remember to practice good hand washing hygiene. We're going to turn our sink on to the warmest our hands can handle it. Get them nice and wet. Add a little bit of soap. We need to wash for at least 20 seconds. So we're going to rub our palms together, and then we're going to turn around in between our fingers on this side and in between our fingers on this side. Make sure that we get our thumbs and the inside of our fingers all the way to our wrists. And by the time you've done all that, it should be at least a good 20 seconds. If you can't remember, sing happy birthday or practice your ABCs. And we need to make sure we wash all those germs right down the sink. So the first thing we're going to do is preheat our oven to 350 degrees. After we preheat our oven, we're going to grab our flour tortillas and pull those out, and I can stack 2 or 3 on top. And we're going to use a pizza slicer just because it's easy. And we're going to cut those into about 8 pieces each. Depending on how big you like your chips, you could cut them a little smaller. All right, so after we have some nice cute little triangles going on, we're going to get them lined up on our baking sheet. And I like to make cute little shapes on there. You could also use cookie cutters instead of a pizza cutter and make dinosaurs or heart shapes or anything fun like that. It's always cute to eat shaped food. All right. And then after we fill that up, we're going to get our cooking spray out, and we're going to give them a little spray. Just like that. I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of sugar and 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, and we're going to put them in our bowl. Make sure they're stirred up really well. And give them a good sprinkle. Make sure they're coated because you want every bite of that chip to be nice and sweet. So once you get your chips coated with your cinnamon sugar, you're going to put them in your oven for 6 to 8 minutes, and then we'll get started on our salsa. So we're putting our tortilla crisps in the oven. We have it marked at 350 degrees, and we want to make sure we have a timer set for 6 minutes. If they're not quite crispy enough at 6 minutes, you can put them in up to 8, but anything longer than that will burn. So now that our cinnamon crisp chips are in the oven, we're going to pull out our fruit, and we're going to give it all a good rinse. Don't use soap, just to make sure we get all of those germs and dirts and things like that from the grocery store off. So we're going to start with our strawberries, and I prefer a larger size knife. It's easier for me to control, and we need to cut those green pieces off of our strawberry. So once I cut that off, I'm going to move it over here to the side, flip my strawberry upright, and I'm going to do my best to keep my knife flat on the cutting board, and I'm going to curl my fingers inwards to help prevent any accidents. All right, and then we're gonna give them a flip this way. And we want our strawberries in nice little chunks for our fruit salsa. Let's do one more. And we're gonna be using an entire pint of strawberries for this recipe. That's okay if they get all over the place. We're just gonna stack them back up the best that we can. Lots of little slices. All right, once we get that whole pint of strawberries cut up, we're gonna set them to, not with our knife because we'll cut our fingers. We're going to pick those up and add them to our bowl. And I'll grab the kiwis, and we're going to start cutting those up next. All right, so right over here I have 2 kiwis, and the easiest way for me to cut up a kiwi is to slice it right down the center and grab a big old spoon. And we're gonna stick it in there like that. And our kiwi's gonna come right out of there, and it's gonna leave the hairy mess over there to the side. Yes, kiwis are hairy on the outside. I know that's weird, but they are so yummy. Doop. Got a little extra piece on there, but it'll come right off. Back to our knife, and we remember we want to keep our fingers out of the way and try to keep our knife nice and flat. This is a squishy one. Once we get both of our kiwis cut up, we're going to put them in the bowl. I'm going to scoop those up and give me just a second to rinse some of this off of my hands. So now that we've got our strawberries and kiwis cut up, we're going to move on to our bananas next and apples. So I am going to give this banana just a little cut at the top because it makes it easier to get it open. We're going to get him all peeled. That's all right, he's got a bad spot. And really, you could eat that, but we're going to cut away from ourselves and cut that bad chunk off right there. And normally, if I was eating this banana, I would have ate it anyways, but that's okay. We're going to keep our fingers curled, and again, our knife, we're going to do our best to keep him flat on the cutting board. Lots of bananas. And remember, guys, we're making fruit salsa, so we want to cut these circles into little square pieces so they're easy to pick up with our crispy cinnamon chips. I love bananas. All right. So we're going to use one whole large banana for this recipe. And we're just going to chop them up. We don't want to turn them into mushed banana baby food, but we do want them in nice square pieces to make them easier to eat. Once we get our banana all cut up, we're going to put that into our bowl. Bananas everywhere. And we're going to move on to our apple. So, when we cut our apple, the skin is the best part. It has all the nutrients and stuff. So we're not going to peel our apple, but we are going to take that core out of the center because nobody likes the seeds in there. I have this fun guy is an apple core. And if we sit him right over top of where the stem is and give it a good hard push down, it's going to pull that center piece out for you. And then you're going to have these nice little slices. Just like that. So that's the part that nobody likes to eat anyways. We'll move him over there to the side. Again, we're going to grab our knife and we're going to cut him in nice little chunks. And we're going to use one whole apple for this recipe. So once you get your whole apple cut up, you're going to put those chunks over here into your bowl. And then we're going to get our seasonings ready. All right, so now that we've gotten all of our fruit cut up and it's in the bowl, we are moving on to our spices. We are going to take a half a teaspoon of cinnamon and just sprinkle that all over. 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And 1/4 cup of sugar. I know this doesn't look like a cup, but we squeezed it all in there. Okay, and then we're going to use 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. You can use a fresh squeezed lemon if you prefer, but today we are going to use lemon juice. My son would drink this right out of the bottle if I would let him. Okay, let's give that a good stir. Doesn't that look yummy? All right, so once we've gotten that all stirred up, we're going to sit him over in the fridge for just a minute or two. So make sure everything's nice and cold and juicy. And we're going to check on our cinnamon crisp chips. They should be ready. All right, so we're going to go get those crisp chips out of the oven. We're going to make sure we use a oven mitt very carefully. We might need a mom or dad to help us with the oven. Sometimes it gets really hot. Just sit them down on the counter, and your chips should be nice and crisp. If they are too smushy, then you're not going to quite like them, but they should have just a little bend to them. And once they cool off, when you bite into them, they'll be nice and crunchy. Now that our chips are finished, we're going to pull out our fruit and get plated. All right, so we've got our cinnamon crisp chips all ready on our plates. We've pulled our fruit out of the refrigerator. It's nice and chilled. We're going to give it a good big stir to make sure all those juices are moved around. And add it to the center of our dish. Doesn't that look pretty, guys? I think next time I'll add a little more kiwi. So we're going to get a big scoop of our salsa on there, and I just want to thank everyone for watching Cooking with Recreation. I'm your host, Miss Amanda. Enjoy your lunch.